Hey everyone, welcome back to Numbers Nexus, your ultimate world for mastering elite mathematics. Today we are breaking down Stewart calculus. We are diving into exercise 15.1, question number 1 to explore how we can estimate the volume of a solid using double Riemann sums. So let's start with the prayer. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tamim bil khair, which means, oh my Lord, please make it easy for us and do not make it difficult or complex. So it is a very powerful prayer. So now let's jump to the question. The question says, estimate the volume of the solid that lies below the surface z is equal to xy and above the rectangle R contains every point xy and x is greater than equal to 0 and smaller than equal to 6, which means x is from on the number line. If I would write it here, let's, if this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis, here is 0, then x include every number from 0 to 6, every number within this interval, and the y is greater than and equal to 0 and less than and equal to 4, and here is 4. So every point here, so every point here is a part of this rectangle. So next in the question, it says, use our Riemann sum with m is equal to 3 and n is equal to 2. These two are the number of intervals. M is equal to 3 is the number of intervals for x-axis, and n is equal to 2 is the number of intervals for the y-axis. And take the sample points to be the upper right corner of each square. Let this be the square. If this be the square, then this would be its upper right corner, and we have to find every every rectangle, every subrectangular region, and their upper right corner points to find the volume of the solid that lies below the surface z is equal to x1. So now let's jump to the solution. Let's erase this first. Okay, so here comes the solution. First of all, this is a given function, a double variable function of x and y. Z is equal to x and y, and I have written it in the form of f of x and y because it is a double variable function. And the next given condition is m is equal to 3 and n is equal to 2, as I have explained. And first of all, we have to find two things. As you know the Riemann sums, the formula to find the volume using the Riemann sum is V is approximately equal to summation I is equal to 1 to m, and again summation, it means double summation, j is equal to 1 to n, and applied on, this summation is applied on the function f of x I j steric and y I j steric multiplied by delta a. Here, the function f of xij and yij is exactly the function f of xy is exactly the function we have given. We will use this function for this. This direct means the sample points. The sample points we have to find. So the two things we have to find in this question first is delta A, and the second thing would be sample points. And we have given the condition that sample points would be the upper right corner points. So these would be the two main things. We have to find these two things to find the volume under the surface z is equal to xy. Basically, z is equal to xy, as you know. Here are the coordinates, and this is x, this is y, and this is z. So it's like something this, this, and this, or and this. So it's look like something this. Sorry. So this is our surface we have given. This surface, which is z is equal to xy. Okay. So under this surface, there is a particular area within the boundary of x axis from 0 to, we say, there is the 6, 0 to 6, and 0 on the y-axis 0 to 4. A rectangular region bounded by these limits. From this rectangular area to this curve, this cutted part, all of this cutted part, we have to calculate the volume of this area using Riemann sums. Okay, now let's see what the solution is. This is our function, and these are the number of intervals we have to divide y and x axis, which is 0 is less than equal to x, and which is x n equal to 6. This is the interval we have given, and n is the number of interval for the y, which is bounded by these limits. So, okay, the two things we have been needed. The first is delta A and the second is the sample points. So, what's the delta A now? Delta A is delta x times delta y. We will divide, as we have been given the number of intervals, we will divide this x-axis and this y-axis into the number of intervals we have been given. We have given the number of intervals for the x-axis, n is equal to 3, and for the y-axis, n is equal to 2. From the x-axis, we will draw 3 from 0 to 6, 3 equal partitions, and from 0 to 4 on the y-axis, we will divide this A region into two intervals. By dividing these into intervals, we will get 6 sub-rectangles, and each of this rectangle has the area of delta A, which would be delta x times delta y. As you know, this is our delta x, this line, this part, and this is our delta y. Delta x into delta y will give us the area of this subrectangle and every subrectangle. So that's why we have to calculate delta a's. Now we will calculate delta a and delta x. How to calculate delta x? Let's say x is equal to a closed interval of a and b. Do you know what a closed interval means? A closed interval is an interval which includes the boundary points. So x is the closed interval of a and b. Then what would be your delta x? If this is a, this is b, and a and b is included in the x, it's a closed interval, and we have to divide it into subinterval of many parts. Let's say m parts, m subintervals. Then the length of each subinterval would be delta x. So how to calculate this delta x? Delta x would be equal to upper limit, or you can say the upper boundary, minus the lower limit or the lower boundary point by m. M is the number of intervals. That's how we will calculate our delta x. And for the delta y, let's say y is the closed interval c to d. Then the upper boundary point d minus the lower boundary point c by n. N is the number of interval for delta y. Now we'll calculate our delta x and delta y. So here it is. Delta x would be equal to 6 minus 0 by 3. 3 is m is equal to 3, and this gives us the delta x of 6 minus 0 is 6, and 6 by 3 is equal to 2. And similarly, we have calculated our delta y. Delta y is equal to 4 minus 0. 4 is the upper limit and 0 is the lower limit by 2, and it gives us the delta y of 2. Both the delta x and delta y are 2, and now we will use this delta x and delta y to get our delta a, which is the first thing that is required to find the Riemann sums. So our delta a is equal to 4. Now we'll have to calculate the second thing. The first thing has been calculated, which is delta a. Now the second thing we have to calculate are our sample points. Our sample points should be the upper right corner points of every rectangle we have made. Every rectangle we have made, the upper right corner points, the upper right, it's not clear here. I'll explain it in the graph I have made before. Let's see this visual explanation for the clarity. Okay, this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. And our x-axis has the boundary of 0 to 6 and y-axis has the boundary of 0 to 4. And we have to divide this x-axis into three partitions, three sub-intervals, which is given as m is equal to 3. We have to divide this x-axis into m number of intervals, which is 3. So after dividing this into three intervals, every the length of every subinterval would be 2, as we have calculated delta x is equal to 2. This is our delta x. So this is the length of our interval and this is our delta y. As you can see on the graph, our x-axis goes from 0 to 6 with the step of 2, creating three intervals. And our y-axis goes from 0 to 4 with the step of 2, creating two rows of squares. And now we have total 6 number of squares: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the problem specifies that we must use the upper right corner point of each subrectangle as our sample points. The sample points we have to use in the question. So now we will look carefully for our sample points. In the first row or upper right corner is 2 and 2, as x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 2. And the next corner point, upper right corner point, is 4, 2, and the next is 6, 2. And in the second row, we have the corner points of 2, 4, 4, 4, and 6, 4. So these are our sample points. We have calculated both things. We have calculated our delta A and the sample points. And now we will easily calculate the volume using the Riemann sums. So as you know, this is the formula. And what the steric means. Steric means the sample points could be any points in this rectangular region. The upper corner point, the upper right corner point, the lower left corner point, the upper left corner point, or the lower right corner point, or even the midpoint. We can calculate Riemann sum on all of these sample points. So, according to the given condition, we have to use our upper right corner points as our sample points. Okay, so we will expand this summation and apply this function on every single upper right corner point we have been calculated. So the function of 2 and 2 times delta A and the function of 4 and 2 uh, times delta A and so on. What would be the answer of this function? Our given function was f of x y is equal to x y. We'll apply the same function on our first corner point 2 into 2. It will give us a 2 times 2. So now you know from where these values come. This 2 is this 2 and this 2 is this 2 and this delta A is 4 here. And similarly, we have applied function on every sample point. Now we'll calculate the product of each term and then we will find the sum of all these numbers and we got our answer for the part A. And now we will see what's in the part B. So the part B says use the midpoint rule. We have to use the midpoint rule to estimate the volume of the solid in the part. Do you know what's the midpoint rule for the Riemann sums? I'll tell you what's the midpoint rule. Midpoint rule. So as you know, the volume is approximately equal to the summation I is equal to 1 to m and j is equal to 1 to n of function f of x I j steric y I j steric into delta a. You know what's the delta a, and now you know what's the steric means. It means the sample points. And in the midpoint rule, specifically midpoint rule, the sample points will be equal to the midpoints. So we have to calculate the midpoints of these rectangles. Now we have to find the midpoints. Okay, so how to find the midpoints? And to write this midpoint rule, we will use this formula as you can copy this. Yeah, so the midpoint of x sub I and y subjects. It's almost the same formula. The only change in the both is we will use the midpoints here only. So what's the midpoint and how to calculate them? Let's say x I is an interval, a closed interval of x I minus 1 to x I, and yj is a closed interval of yj minus 1 to yj. So what would be the midpoint of this? The midpoint of this interval will be x I minus 1 plus x I, dividing this into two parts. The midpoint of yj interval would be yj minus 1 plus yj, dividing it by 2. Symbolically or graphically, this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, this is our 6, 0, 4, and that's the rectangular region and the squares we have made. Okay, so the midpoint here would be like this. It's the midpoint. It's the midpoint. It's the midpoint. Yeah, the midpoint of each rectangle. In the part A, we have to use the upper right corner point, but in the part B, we have to use the midpoints to find the Riemann sums. We already have delta A because the area of each rectangle is still the same, which is delta A is equal to 4. There is no change in the area of the partitions. And now we'll calculate midpoints. So for every subinterval like this, for x the subinterval is 0 to 2, and for the y the subinterval is also 0 to 2 closed interval. That's how we found the coordinates. 2 plus 0 by 2, 2 plus 0 by 2. This is the next subinterval 2 to 4. For this we have added 2 and 4 and divided into half, into two parts. And similarly we have been calculated every midpoint from this rule. So 2 plus 0 is equal to 2 by 2 is equal to 1, and it's also 1. Following this exact step for all the 6 sub-rectangles, our 6 midpoints are 1, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, 1, 3, 3, 3, and 5, 3. Now we can easily calculate the Riemann sum using these midpoints and our delta A. Look at the formula. As same as in the last question, we substitute all of these midpoints into the function, which is f of x, y is equal to xy. This is a 1 into 1, and this 4 is again delta 4, and similarly so on. And then find the product of each term and then calculate the sum of this expression, and we get our answer for the part B, which is 144 units. So this was the solution for the question number 1 of Stewart Calculus, ninth edition, exercise number 15.1, question number 1. See, breaking down double integrals and Riemann sums is incredibly simple when you map them out step by step on a grid. If this visual breakdown helped you clear your concepts today, smash that like button, subscribe to Numbers Nexus, and drop a comment below on which calculus topic you want us to solve next. Also, don't forget to check the link in the description to access our growing solution vault for section 15.1 on our website, where you can download the clean PDF sheets for these exercises. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown on Numbers Nexus. Bye bye.